Overthinkers complicate their own lives. वो हर situation को over analyze करते हैं. Overthinkers don't like getting disappointed. They like being in control of things. They don't like uncertainty. They don't like surprises. It's difficult for them to adjust to changes. And when they get into relationships, these things get a little difficult for them because जब कोई दूसरा इंसान आपकी लाइफ में इन्वॉल्व हो जाता है and you are emotionally dependent on them, then you cannot control their behaviors beyond a certain extent. There's always a chance of getting disappointed. There's a chance that the other person might completely change at some point. They might surprise you in a negative manner. And for overthinkers, it's very difficult to adjust to these things. They don't like negative surprises. They don't like being put in a situation that they weren't mentally prepared for, and they definitely have a very hard time forgiving and forgetting. इसीलिए जब भी कोई negative situation किसी overthinker के साथ होती है, that person goes over it over and over again until they don't find their answers, which is very difficult because हर बार answer नहीं मिलेगा. Also, you must have noticed that whenever overthinkers are dating, वो हर चीज़ को बहुत ज़्यादा ओवर एनालाइज करते हैं बिकॉज दे फियर कि कहीं उनको डिसअपॉइंटमेंट ना मिल जाए. दे लाइक टू बी प्रिपेयर्ड बिफोर हैंड. इसलिए वो उन चीज़ों के बारे में भी सोचेंगे दैट डोंट एग्जिस्ट. समटाइम्स दे स्टार्ट अज्यूमिंग थिंग्स बिकॉज दे वॉन्ट टू प्रोटेक्ट देमसेल्व्स. सो रिलेशनशिप्स फॉर ओवर थिंकर्स कैन बी डिफिकल्ट, बट there's always a solution. It's not impossible. I am an extreme overthinker. The person that I am in a relationship with is a huge overthinker. And we're making things work because there are certain things, there are certain basics that we follow in our relationship. And those are what I'm going to share with you guys today.
You're listening to Overthinking This by Ocean.
Hi, my overthinkers. My name's Ocean. Welcome to Overthinking This. This is a podcast where all of us overthinkers, we come together and we talk about things that only overthinkers think about. So if you're new here, join the club, join the Overthinkers Club. And today we're talking about how to date an overthinker or what to do to avoid overthinking in relationships. So I'm going to give you some pointers off of my list. Number one, of course, is communication. Communication is very essential in any relationship, and communication के भी कई different types होते हैं. So number one, of course, is you have to talk to the other person about how you're feeling. You should always be very honest to the other person, and also like if you yourself are an overthinker, you should definitely express your feelings because as overthinkers हम कभी-कभी अपने दिमाग में चीज़ें सोचते रहते हैं and we keep exaggerating things in our mind, we keep assuming. So until and unless you're not discussing these things with the other person, you will just keep assuming the worst. So of course, always express your feelings, your opinions, how you are thinking of things. If there's something that's bothering you, be very honest about that. The second thing in communication is keeping the other person updated. Now, overthinkers, they don't like uncertainty. They don't like surprises. So the least you can do is just keep them updated. You know, like, this is what's happening in my life. I was thinking of doing this at work. I was thinking that office ke baad I might hang out with a friend of mine. Just keep them updated beforehand. It's not that you have to seek their permission always. It's not that you cannot do anything without informing them prior. But I think it's just nicer when in a relationship, the other person is like a friend of yours that you discuss things with, that you keep in loop. Just treating the other person as a friend that you share things with can really improve your relationship because not only it builds more trust and it builds more intimacy, it also leaves lesser space for ambiguity. So communication is of course one, expressing your feelings and emotions honestly so that there's no space of thinking only in the mind, and if there's any issue or error that can be rectified and clarified there and then. Second is keeping the other person updated, letting them into your lives, telling them everything about who you are, what do you think, what's going on in your life. Just generally, you know, talk about work, talk about creative ideas you're having, talk about things that you've been watching. Just have conversations. It really helps. And when we're speaking of communication, the other important pointer is, and that I personally believe in a lot, is all feelings are valid, but all actions are not. Now, if you are an overthinker or you're dating an overthinker, there could be chances that either A, due to some previous past experiences that were not nice, or due to some insecurities or unhealed wounds, your partner may start assuming things, may start thinking a certain way. And as a partner, you should just give them the space to one, express that, let them speak it out. Do not take things personally कि इसने ऐसा कैसे बोल दिया, इसने ऐसा सोच भी कैसे लिया. अरे इट्स वेरी ह्यूमन यार, इंसान कुछ भी सोच सकता है, कई बार कुछ भी ट्रिगर कर सकता है. You never know what's going on in their head. Having said that, do not accept टॉक्सिक बिहेवियर एंड एक्शंस आर नेवर वैलिड, बट फीलिंग्स आर. अगर किसी इंसान को इनसिक्योरिटी हो रही है या फिर वो पोजेसिव फील कर रहे हैं, let them express it and then clarify things for them. Help them feel better about it. If there's certain evidence that will help them through it, if there's some actions of yours that can help them, do not take it personally. Do not be like, I do so many things for you, you're still thinking like this. It's okay. Just give them the space to exist like that, and slowly gradually that also builds trust. जब उस इंसान को समझ आएगा that you not only hear them out and you're also willing to help them feel comfortable, they would only start trusting you more. For example, let's say if your partner starts feeling insecure of some other human being in your life, like a co-worker of yours or a friend of yours, instead of being like, are you crazy, how could you think that, this and that, just be like, okay, why do you think so? Is there any way I can help you out with it? It simplifies things so much. So all feelings are valid. Don't judge them for their feelings. Don't take it personally कि हिम्मत कैसे हुई ऐसे सोचने की. It's okay. But very important, do not take toxic behavior. If someone's yelling at you, if someone's being physically or emotionally abusive, that's not your responsibility. Another important aspect when it comes to communication is you have to be a very good listener. Now, overthinkers, again, as I said, they think about a situation over and over again. They like venting. So, number one, whenever something happens, there is a high chance that you might have to listen to them. So, listen very patiently without taking things personally. Hear them out. और ऐसा भी हो सकता है विद ओवरथिंकर्स कि वो एक सिचुएशन के बारे में कई बार बात करें, लाइक यू हैड अ कॉन्वर्जेशन अबाउट इट, यू क्लैरिफाइड थिंग्स, एवरीथिंग, एंड देन द नेक्स्ट डे इट्स स्टिल बॉदरिंग देम एंड दे माइट कम अप विद इट अगेन. सो जस्ट बी लाइक, ओके फाइन, देयर इज समथिंग एल्स दैट वी are yet to discuss, let's just talk about it. So you have to be a very good listener when you are dating an overthinker, not in terms of ki cheeze yaad rakho and they'll get disappointed if you don't remember things, but it's just that you might have to hear them out frequently, because ho sakta hai ki aaj you debriefed a situation, today you talked about something, कल वो उस situation से related कुछ और नया point लेकर आ जाए. Like anything can happen with overthinkers, and just a little patience and hearing them out well will really help you. And कई बार क्या होता है that the other person doesn't even need or require answers. All they want is someone to listen to them. So be that best friend for them. ऐसा हर इंसान के साथ होता है that there's a time in our lives where we need to speak to someone about things. If you want कि तुम्हारा पार्टनर तुम्हारे पास आए instead of going to other people outside the relationship or going to like their best friends or anything, then you'll have to provide them an environment where they can freely and openly talk to you. So listen to them without judgment, listen to them with patience, hear them out, and then understand what they're seeking out of the situation. Another very important thing is transparency over honesty. Of course, you have to always be honest. Lying has no space in a relationship, but transparency is even more important. अब फर्क क्या होता है दोनों में? Honesty is कि I call my boyfriend and I ask where are you, and he says I'm out with a friend, and that's being honest. Transparency is that before he goes out, he calls and he says, hey, I'm going out with my friend, but I'll keep you updated and stuff. So that's transparency, letting the other person know beforehand what's coming. For example, there's a certain person that your partner is not comfortable with, और उस इंसान ने अगर तुम्हें text किया है, तो just tell your partner beforehand. You know, you might be like, oh, it was just an innocent text, whatever. You might not have any wrong intentions. But instead of waiting for them to ask you ki, oh, did this person text you or not, and then you telling them, just tell them beforehand. Just be transparent as you can. Because कई बार ऐसा होता है, especially for overthinkers, कि अगर तुम उनको कोई चीज़ बाद में बताओ या फिर कुछ चीज़ उनको खुद से पता चले, so then they feel betrayed कि यार I thought you were doing this and you're not doing that. Like if I call up my partner and I am thinking ki, oh, he must be at work right now, but I call him and I find out that he's not at work, he's out with a friend, and he's telling me honestly about it, I will feel betrayed because मुझे तो ये लग रहा था ना that he's at work. So my assumption, my belief has been deterred in some way. So being transparent is extremely, extremely important in a relationship. Another important thing, involve them in decision making. Now, I'm not saying that ask them every single thing, ki, can I do this, can I do that, or you have to always seek their permission. That's not the case. But just keep them in loop. I was like planning on wearing this certain outfit. Do you like it or not? Just having the other person involved in your lives like that really helps the quality of the relationship. It shows the other person that you respect their opinions, that you do not just go to them when you want to like be in a relationship, like that they're part of your lives otherwise as well, and it helps build trust. So involve the other person in decision making, tell them about how things are going, make them feel like they are an important part of your life and that you just don't forget about them in certain situations. I think overthinkers के लिए सबसे बड़ा threat ही होता है when they start feeling like कि यार has the other person just forgotten about me, or like this person only remembers me when they want to talk to me, but then the rest of the day they're not even speaking to me, they're not even like keeping me in loop, they're not even telling me about anything else. In relationships, you talk to the other person about the relationship, you talk about love, you talk about silly things, you talk about like relationship stuff, but like do you also speak to your partner about your work life or things outside the relationship? Because that is what takes the relationship to another level. It shows the other person कि तुम सिर्फ hang out और chill करने के लिए नहीं उसके पास जाते, you actually consider them as a friend of yours, as a partner of yours. And updates, of course, I've touched on it before, but just keep your partner updated every now and then. It's not that difficult to send in a text, to have a conversation, to call up and ask, how are you doing, what are you doing? These are just basics in a relationship, and I can't even believe that I'm talking about these, but I know that there are a lot of you out there who are not following these basics, and then you complain why you're unhappy in your relationship. Good morning, good night text, bare minimum, basics. Texting each other throughout the day, no matter if you're at work or in a meeting, keeping each other updated. And sometimes you might think, yaar, मैं बहुत mentally exhausted हूँ अभी, I'm not feeling good, I don't have the power or the energy to maintain that relationship. And you might feel like, I need my space and this overthinker is bothering me. The point is that with overthinkers, they don't want you to pretend that you're present at all times. अगर तुमसे नहीं हो रहा है, तुम्हारे अंदर mental energy नहीं है to be at your 100% today, just tell them ki, dude, that's just how I've been feeling today, and they will appreciate that honesty way more. Instead of being like, I cannot do it, I need my space, I want to separate, just be like, I'm feeling like this. If you can share your happy moments with a person, you're also free to share moments where you're not feeling your best. And I think most partners, what they do is वो happy moments तो share करते हैं, but they forget to be emotionally vulnerable when it's required. And sometimes what happens is, let's say partner A, partner B. Partner A जब खुश होता है तो partner B को बताता है, जब partner A दुखी होता है तो भी partner B को बताता है, partner B feels happy that they're there for partner A in both the situations. But when partner B is happy, they of course tell partner A, but when they're sad, the partner B sort of takes a step back, becomes distant, और partner A को शायद कई बार पता भी नहीं चलता that partner B is upset. But partner B के दिमाग में क्या चल रहा है? Whenever she's sad or whenever he's sad, I'm there, but this person is not there for me. But the problem is, you're not letting yourself be emotionally vulnerable to the other person. How will they be there for you? So you have to give the other person the space to be there for you when it's needed, so that you don't feel emotionally drained. तुम्हें ये ना लगने लगे कि यार, I am always there for that person, but that person is not there for me. I think I sort of lost track, but coming back to my list, reassurance. Because overthinkers, they overanalyze stuff. They can start doubting things very quickly. वो बहुत जल्दी assumptions बना लेते हैं अपने दिमाग में. Reassurance really helps. Now you don't have to be like, बोला तो है that I love you. We are in a relationship. Why do you need to constantly be reassured? Do you not trust us? Do you not? That's not the case. As human beings, we all seek reassurance. Who wouldn't like hearing that they're loved? Who wouldn't like hearing that they're needed? And there are a lot of ways where you can provide that reassurance. One is obviously having conversations when it's required, but also constant efforts. जब एक relationship एक certain time span cross कर लेता है, people start getting comfortable, which is great. That's an upside of a long-term relationship कि आप comfortable हो सकते हो. But in that comfort, you should not start neglecting basic things. If you put in like 100% of your efforts when your relationship started and now it's dipping down, दूसरे इंसान को ये लगने लगता है that यार, did this person just want to get with me and now they're getting bored or now they're not like liking things or whatever. So relationships require constant effort, especially if you're in a relationship with an overthinker. Those constant efforts matter even more. You don't even have to do much, but sometimes sweet little surprises really help. For example, one day we woke up and I was texting my partner and he was telling me about a dream he had, and I said, oh, your dream is making me crave a chocolate cake now. And guess who had a chocolate cake like in the next 30 minutes? I wasn't even expecting it, and it made me happy. It made my day. There have been moments where I've been overwhelmed and I call him and I like cry and went to him and I feel automatically better. And then he will send a sweet little treat or flowers and it just makes my day. Overthinkers love surprises. They love that effort. Another thing is, of course, one is acts of love. It's surprises, but also words of affirmation. Just say sweet things. Just say I love you more. Just say I miss you more. Send in sweet texts. Be vocal about your feelings. It will surprise you that the difference between a happy and a not very happy relationship, it's just the little things, it's just the basics. Another very important point for overthinkers is when an overthinker is in emotional pain, do not distance yourself. Do not become an avoidant. Don't give them space. Now, this could also vary. I'm so sorry, I don't want to generalize anyone. You could be the kind of person who likes a little space after a conflict, but what I'm saying is, see, space is a different thing. I'm not saying like bars the other person's personal space, but don't start acting like you don't care. Don't give the other person an impression कि यार वो इंसान इतना दुखी है और तुम्हें फर्क तक नहीं पड़ा. That's the biggest thing any person says in a relationship when they're hurt. They're like, I was crying the entire night and this person just slept. I was so hurt and this person went on doing their own thing. So don't do that. And it only validates their fear. जैसे अगर किसी इंसान को already लग रहा है that they're feeling like you are falling out of love, and उस situation को address ना करके you choose to ignore it, you're only validating their fear. I know it might seem like, yeah, it's so much effort to be in a relationship. It is, but the point is, it's so much more draining to be constantly arguing and fighting. So if you just follow these basics, it could be so much easier. These are just pointers that I think have helped me in my relationship and that I think has helped other people around me in general. But if there's something more, just leave it in the comments. DM me about it. You're also free to disagree and to have a different opinion. To each their own, but I hope these pointers help you in your relationship. If you liked it, like the YouTube video, comment down below, subscribe to the channel on Spotify, and don't forget to follow and also leave a rating, leave 5 stars. And you can also check out my Instagram and the podcast Instagram. All of it will be linked in the description down below. I'm sending you guys a lot of love. Chalo, bye.